Hello YouTube, and welcome to my Seraphine Challenger guide. So to start off with my qualifications, I am Challenger and I've been Challenger for a long time. I'm currently rank 5 on the ladder. So today I'm going to be doing my Seraphine guide. So firstly, I'm going to go over runes. So for Seraphine, I'm currently running this page right here. So in Seraphine's strongest lane, which is APC bot lane, so farming bot lane, you take the position of ADC. You want to run armor, usually because you won't be versing double AP bot lane normally, but if you do notice you're versing a Ziggs or a Swain, you can switch to magic resistance. So to begin with, we're going to talk about the 3 primary keystones. So Comet's not good on Seraphine because the accuracy is way too bad. You're only landing Comet if you land E or R. If you land Q, which your main source of damage is Q, this isn't going to proc. Comet is going to miss. So that's why we don't go Comet on Seraphine. There's Phase Rush as an option as well, secondly. It's an okay option for mid lane on champions that have a lot of slows and you want to distance yourself away from. I think it's pretty decent against Ryze. As for why we take Aerie is just the best option for Seraphine because it gives you the best of both worlds of Comet's damage, but you can also shield people and increase the shield. And the shield is a big it's really important. Sometimes you can save people with 1 HP just from Aerie shield, as well as you can proc Aerie with your auto attacks, which makes it really good. Bot lane, you can use notes to get a lot of Aerie procs for free, and it's untradeable because it has range, so that's why I like Aerie the most. As for why we take mana flow, we're not building tier, so mana flow does help quite a bit, so there's no reason to take Nimbus or Nullifying Orb. They're just not viable keystones for Seraphine. For this middle tree, Transcendence is not bad, and it's what I used to take, but it doesn't do much for you early game, which is why I stopped taking it. Because you're already having a scaling rune with Gathering Storm, so I do want a rune that does a bit in the lane phase, which is why I switched over to Absolute. And I think Absolute Focus in combination with Gathering is very, very strong because at 30 minutes, you're already getting, you should be level 18 around 30 minutes. So you should be getting 78 AP just from runes, which is an entire item basically. So I really like the combination of Absolute and Gathering. Celerity doesn't really have a purpose for APC Seraphine. I wouldn't take Celerity. Transcendence is viable too. You can take it as well. As for Scorch, Gathering, and Water Walking, Seraphine is a good scaling champ. I've tried Scorch after the Scorch buff. It's not the same. It's not like Lux. Definitely would recommend not going Scorch and always taking Gathering Storm on Seraphine. As for the secondary tree, we take Presence of Mind simply because we don't build tier. So you always want Presence of Mind on Seraphine. If you are not running Presence of Mind, you're forced to build the Seraphs because Seraphine is a very spammy champ and she uses mana, a lot of mana. I would definitely recommend taking Presence of Mind just so you don't have to build tier. I'll get into why we don't build tier when we get into the item section of the build, of the guide, sorry. So Coop, Cut Down, or Last Time, or I guess you could be any of these other options. Tenacity is okay if you want to survive. Attack speed's not that great. I wouldn't take it over Coop. Helps with CSing, but it's not good for killing people. Cut Down's not that great because Seraphine builds health items, so Cut Down is not viable for Seraphine. I always run Coop because I notice Coop helps me, even if it doesn't seem like a lot of damage, Coop helps me get early kills in the laning phase, which is very big because Seraphine's a champion who's not supposed to get kills, and if you do end up getting kills on Seraphine, you are in a very strong position to win the game because she scales so hard. So if you do get early kills, it's usually thanks to Coop. So that's why I like running Coop. This is for a little bit of cooldown reduction, it's better than going double adaptive and getting a shit ton of AP, because Seraphine still likes a bit of cooldown. Before, I would go Transcendence and Haste to like max out from the CDR that I get from the runes, but I feel like it's not needed, and after playing Seraphine more, I think Absolute is better. If you go any other tree besides Precision, you're gonna have to invest into tier, and that's bad. This is what we build: Liandry's, Ionian Boots, Cosmic, Rabadon, Void Staff, and Lichbane. So this is only if you are going my builds and you are running the summoner spell Ghost, because Ghost is key for why I'm taking Lucidity Boots. It's for the CDR portion of the cooldown of the summoner spell, because CDR boots lower the cooldown of summoner spells. For APC Seraphine, bot lane, there's also heal and exhaust, but I don't like these options on Seraphine. Exhaust is not bad because you can combo it with your E. There are a few exhaust combos that you can pull off, but exhaust did get nerfed, and I feel like with this new build, Ghost lets you outplay a lot more on Seraphine compared to exhaust. If I would go exhaust, instead of CDR boots, you can switch them for Cirque boots depending on your team comp. Sometimes Cirques are better than CDR boots. So the reason why I don't build the early tier into the Seraphs is because this item, buying a tier early game, sets you behind 400 gold, and the goal efficiency of Archangels, even like the full Seraphs, is not as high gold efficiency as Cosmic, because you don't get as much AP, you don't get as much cooldown reduction, and you get more mana basically, which is all it's good for. Cosmic gives you more AP, more cooldown reduction, movement speed. The big portion that matters is the movement speed and ability power. Cosmic works very well with Liandry's because Liandry's keeps you in combat, which is needed for the Spell Dance passive of Cosmic Drive, which allows you to move very fast. And you can combo this movement speed from Spell Dance and just the 5% movement speed from Cosmic Drive. You can combine this with Ghost, and you can zoom around the map basically. In a team fight, this is what I really like: just the Cosmic, the Ghost, the Ionian Boots. If you hit super late game, you have Lichbane as well for even more movement speed. Sometimes instead of a Lichbane, I will replace it with a Medjai's if my score is good enough, because Medjai's is an earlier spike and a lot of AP. It's honestly pretty easy to die on Seraphine, so I would only recommend a Medjai's if you're a very experienced Seraphine player, and I wouldn't build a Medjai's until after Cosmic Drive. So I would go these items. Rabadon's third is very core on Seraphine, because even if their enemy team is stacking a shit ton of magic resistance, you still want to go Rabadon's over Void Staff third, specifically on Seraphine. You might not on other mages, but Seraphine is a mage that is also a shielder and a healer, so the AP ratio for your shields and heals are largely benefited from Rabadon's. And honestly, your damage is not that high on Seraphine, and you're going Ionian Boots, so your damage is even worse because you're running Ionian instead of Swerks. Rabadon is much better to force your AP numbers higher for utility, rather than trying to go deal more damage with Void Staff, even though Rabadon increases your damage by a fair amount. In a rare game where I'm ahead, I would build Medjai's after and finish into a Void Staff. If you're not confident with keeping Medjai stacks because it's hard to keep Medjai stacks on Seraphine, I would go for a Void Staff 5th and finish with a Lichbane. Most games. This is like most games, this is what I would build on Seraphine, like as a full build. In rare situational cases, you can go Rylai's, because Rylai's is good into very specific champions, such as Tryndamere, Camille, Hecarim, because they jump into you and onto you, and with Rylai's, your E is an instant route into a stun on the second one, and this is really good against engaged champs and only engaged champs. It will lower your damage and overall like carry potential. It makes you much more utility focused than a DPS carry. It does lower your damage by quite a bit because you're missing out on Cosmic Drive's ability haze. Sonya's is I have like mixed feelings about Zhonya's as an item as a whole for AP champions in general, but I feel like Zhonya's is an item that is very good sometimes situationally, but it's usually good on champions who want to bait people in and outplay in team fights. I wouldn't say Zhonya's is an item that's really exceptional for Seraphine because she is very, very far back, and I would only recommend Zhonya's replacing Cosmic Drive if you were trying to keep your Magi stack. So let's say you got the Magi's here, like third, like you're really stomping. You can replace Cosmic Drive with Zhonya's and it would be okay. So next on Horizon Focus. Horizon Focus is bugged right now. I wouldn't build it on any champ. On Zoe, it doesn't increase her true damage from her E. On Lux, it doesn't increase the damage from the passive. And for Seraphine, it doesn't increase the damage from her notes either. So this item is bugged. Don't build Horizon Focus. There are better CDR items. Shadow Flame. I wouldn't recommend Shadow Flame for Seraphine because she's not really... Like, the AP is nice, but it's lacking the haste. Seraphine wants haste. And it's a really big part of Seraphine's kit. Her skills have... Okay, but... Her Q and E have short cooldowns, but her W is a very long cooldown, so you want... And W is a very strong ability. You want as much haste as possible to shave off her W cooldown, so... Shadow Flame, not that great of an item. Overall, I would not build it. There are better items for Seraphine. Same thing with Demonic. Not viable for Seraphine, just because, again, no haste. Seraphine's a champion who thrives on CDR and haste. For Banshees, I think Banshees is a much better item than Zhonya's. I much prefer Banshees over Zhonya's for Seraphine, and I think it's more viable as a replacement for Cosmic. I would go Banshees in certain cases, like if I was against a Fiddlestick, specifically Evelyn, heavy AP threats that are really, really scary to you. This item is better than Zhonya's because it's 15 more AP, which means your damage isn't too far off Cosmic. It's still lower, but it's not as low. Okay, Riftmaker's not viable. Night Harvester's not viable. Protobelt's not viable. Ludens is bad on Seraphine. I would never ever go Ludens over Liandry's. There's just no reason to. It's kind of like uncomparable in terms of strength. Like, Ludens is so much weaker for Seraphine specifically. Seraphine just loves Liandry's, so don't go Ludens. So Everfrost is viable specifically against like 3 champs. So the first champ it's good against is Yasuo because it can go through Wind Wall. And for the same reason, Samira because it can go through Wind Wall. So if you're versing a Samira and she goes in, immediately you can Everfrost, root her in place through her W, and then double E her, CC her, and she will die instantly. So this is okay against Samira. Against Yasuo, you can use it to just like a get off me tool if he's charging at you with Wind Wall. Just Everfrost him and like walk away. Again, if you have ghosts with Liandry's, it's not really necessary. I really wouldn't go Everfrost, but it's an option that you could try out sometimes. It's not horrible. So Crown is a really good option against very specific champions. I would take it against Fiddlesticks. Kennen is another. Any champ that has a high amount of burst. It's good against Zed. It's good against Kiana. It's good against those type of champs. And the one thing that off-puts me from running this in like my actual games is if you want to make Crown a good item, you need Ingenious Hunter because it shoves down the cooldown. So if you want to go a Crown build, if you're versing something like a Fiddlesticks and you want to run Crown, I would run something like this and I would go Crown Seraphs and Terrabodons instead. Which makes this build okay. It's decent. It's not incredible. It's not terrible. If you're not running Ingenious Hunter, I would not take Crown at all. Now I'm going to move on to the combos. I don't run exhaust anymore, but it's a viable option. If you want to run exhaust, you can do E-flash. E-flash into exhaust. So I'll just do it here right now. So as you see, before your E touches them, they get exhausted into an insta root into a stun. And I use this quite often for kills. You don't always need to use it with double E. You can also use it with single E as well. So I'll just do it again with double E. Like I'll show you what I would do that's like to kill like early. So I would double E. And then I would just do the last auto. And that's like a really good like fast executing technique Seraphine can do when they are very low, like early game, under turret, bot lane. You can do that combo. I would use that combo specifically if like I was getting a gank like bot lane. If your jungler is not there and they're really low, if they're like 1/4 HP and you want to like kill them, you should have your Sage presence on 2. So the bar like I have right now. E-flash exhaust and then double Q. You want to do double Q because double Q will give you the most execute damage. If you want to, honestly, you shouldn't be, you don't have to do it that fast. You can also weave in an extra auto attack. I'll show you. Because they're rooted for quite a bit, and then that would kill. That's like a better one than what I did the other time. It's better to like throw an auto in. It's always good to weave in your autos with Seraphine. If you wanna hit multiple people and do the most damage combo like you could possibly do, you should land a R, land a E, double Q, and then an auto. Because the most damage Seraphine will ever do is with double Q at the end because it's an execute. As you can see, the missing health percentage up to 8 to 10. You always want to use double Q at the end of your burst combo. If you want to CC entire team for like team follow up, you should have it on yellow. And just do it like this. So beat drop on yellow into R, beat drop. Stun, that's like the most amount of CC Seraphine can output. And then you would just throw a Q at the end. Sometimes it's hard to land an R straight up. So there's opportunities where you can just land a double E and R. There's also opportunities against champions without dashes or flashes. So let's say I'm versing Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is very immobile. He has no flash, no ghost, no super crazy movement options, no Lulu. I land an E on the Kog'Maw and he's slowed for 99 seconds, which means you can land R and it's impossible to dodge. So R by itself is a very slow projectile. It's very easy to dodge. But you can land E and then combo it with your R so they can't dodge it. And you don't even have to use like double E for the root. You can land a single E and then instantly ult it. Like they won't be able to dodge. They can't dodge it because if they don't have a mobility spell, it's like a true combo. Like it doesn't miss. Okay, now this one is pretty practical. The invisible Seraphine ulti. This one is good, but it's hard to pull off. I can't pull it off in a real game. I've probably done it like once. So this is how you do it. Okay, wait, no, that's just R flash. That's just R flash. Again, just R flash. The timing's hard. Okay, there, I did it. I did it again. So it's like a timing thing. You have to wait to the last second and then you flash. You have to get the timing down, and then once you get it down, it's invisible. So it looks like it's going this way, but the actual projectile goes this way. You can do the same thing with Kaisa, but it's hard. It's really hard to get off, but if you can get it off, it will do a lot for you. But you can also just R flash normally. See, the thing is, people will expect it not to hit because they expect you whiffs, which is the only thing that's like good about this compared to just normally R flashing. So R flashing would just like hit anyways, right? But they can still react. They can flash. They can react to my flash. But if they see this and they see me mess up, they might not flash it and then it will end up hitting. So it's viable, I guess, but it's not easy to pull off. Another thing that I don't notice a lot of Seraphine players utilizing is that the Q distance, this is how long it takes to travel. So if you Q directly on top of yourself, there is like no travel time. It's like instant. It's really instant. So if there's somebody really low and they're running away, you can flash on top of them. Like let's say this person's low. I flash on top. I Q on top of myself and it's impossible to dodge and it's very instant. The Q has no travel. Compared to if I was here and I was Qing them, they could just sidestep it because Seraphine Q is very, very slow. So if you guys are doing Baron and you have a ward here and a ward here, and they have no vision inside the pink pit because you have the Baron pit pinked ward, so you know there's no vision and they have to come into you. Everyone will come in like this way, so you can just like R flash and then EE and then Q and then like your team will like finish it up. On the other hand, if they're coming here, you don't need to like flash, like you can just R. Like this is a good angle to R. I like this angle. On the other hand, if you're like from this way and they're in the pit and they're like here, this is a good angle. This is an okay angle. I don't like this angle as much. Or you can just walk up and have your team step up here and then try and get a good R angle there. Another good R angle is... this is a good R angle. If your team is like fighting here, that's a very good R angle. There's good R angles in the river for dragon fights. R angles over the wall when they can't see you. So the thing about Seraphine Rs is you want to get it out of vision, but there are just some areas that are really good for Seraphine Rs, like the river fights, the Baron fights, jungle fights. Ring over this wall is good too. Standing from really far range, as long as you hit your teammates, you can extend your R even further to hit people from super far. So you, like, being in the backline is pretty safe. If you get to super full late game build like I have right now on the practice tool, you want to spam your spells just on the floor, or you can attempt to hit them, but you can also just spam it on the floor if somebody's really low. And you can just do a Lich Bane auto attack. Do you see the damage? So this Lich Bane auto attack is very potent if you have Elder Dragon. If you have Elder Dragon, like, it will kill. Like, it kills super duper early. Be free. So you don't deal enough to kill, but the thing is, it's so easy to just consistently get your nodes and do it again. Like there's, like, do you see how easy it is to like recollect nodes? It's like the amount of damage you can output when you have like your teammates near you. It's crazy, which is why Lich Bane is such a strong item. Last item, I feel like Seraphine late game, there's no way you ever want to miss out on Lich Bane, like for your last item, because Lich Bane will always do more than Rylai's. Rylai's is just 75 AP. This item is 75 AP, cooldown reduction, movement speed, and you can combine that movement speed with Ghost and Cosmic Drive, which makes it even more OP. And it's just It's constant output. That's the thing. It's constant output of DPS. It makes Seraphine's DPS very high because her Q does 833 damage on a 2-second cooldown, but this, you don't even have to aim. Like, it's just an auto attack. Like, you can output so much damage late game with Seraphine. I think that's pretty much all for the combos and items and runes. The rest of the stuff for Seraphine, it's mostly just your own positioning, your skill of playing League. It doesn't really... It's not too much about Seraphine. I think Seraphine's a pretty one-dimensional champ. There's a lot of things you can do with her and that I've shown you, but what matters the most on Seraphine is positioning, and that's something you learn from playing more League. And if you want to get better at positioning, you can check me out on Twitch and see how I play Seraphine, or you can watch my other YouTube VODs. Thanks for coming to my YouTube guide, and I hope to see you guys in my Twitch.